Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Thursday, July 8th. Today we will have an increase in winds over a fairly large area from northern Nevada up into Idaho and Wyoming. These wind gusts will generally be between about 30 and 35 miles per hour, with maybe a little bit stronger gusts in the upper 30s towards 40 miles per hour further south into Nevada. We could see a few isolated thunderstorms today across parts of the higher terrain of Utah, but storms will be very isolated. On Friday, we will see those gusty winds shift east into the eastern half of Idaho, Wyoming, and the northern part of Utah. Again, wind gusts look in around 30 to 35 miles per hour, with low relative humidity both of these days and very hot temperatures. We will also see possibly a little bit more lightning activity on Friday, but still very isolated, mainly tied to the higher terrain. On Saturday, we have no significant impacts. However, very hot temperatures near record heat will continue going into the weekend. Overall, the precipitation yesterday was very light. We had some dry thunderstorms over parts of central Idaho into Wyoming. Very little rainfall was reported with these thunderstorms. Great Basin fire activity has been light. We did have some new starts, however, up into Idaho with that lightning, and also a few new starts down into Nevada and Utah, but no new large fires. Over the last 7 days, we've just seen spotty precipitation with the thunderstorms across the Great Basin. And then over the last 14 days, any heavier precipitation with thunderstorms occurred over far southern areas and in the higher Sierra, but still below normal for the time of year over northern areas. Currently, our ERCs have continued to rise with the return of the very hot temperatures, so we are seeing ERCs above the 80th to 90th percentile over much of the eastern half of the Great Basin and also over parts of western Nevada. Looking at a couple of our ERC charts up in central Idaho, where we did see that lightning yesterday, ERCs came down a little bit with some moisture, but are still well above normal and just came shy of records. Over western Nevada, ERCs continue to climb to above normal and in many areas is approaching the 90th percentile. This is also again true for much of Nevada and Utah. Looking at our satellite image from today, strong high pressure still dominates the Great Basin. We do have that shortwave moving into the Pacific Northwest. Again, this is what will kick up our winds today in the north and tomorrow as that continues to track eastward. But under the ridge of high pressure and just some moisture lingering, again, could see some thunderstorms pop over the next couple of days, but would be fairly isolated. So today with that dry and breezy pattern, we have a large area of high risk for gusty winds and low humidity, again for the northern half of Nevada and heading into southern, central, and eastern parts of Idaho and Wyoming. You can see the relative humidity today will drop into the single digits to low teens across the Great Basin with again very hot temperatures. And again, those wind gusts, the areas in orange are generally gusts between about 30 and 35 miles per hour. Could see a few stronger gusts in the higher Sierra, also over parts of northeast Nevada. Idaho winds won't be quite as breezy, but still gusting in the upper 20s. So with recent lightning activity and the very dry conditions, certainly could see some holdovers pop up. As we move into Friday, the trough moves further east, and we do have gusty winds shifting into eastern Idaho, Wyoming, and northern Utah. So we have high risk for that. Relative humidity remains about the same, single digits to low teens, and you can see those winds pick up on Friday. Wind gusts on Friday will be a little bit stronger than what we'll see today, and we could see some gusts between about 40 or 45 miles per hour in parts of western Wyoming and also down into the Uintas and northern Wasatch. As we move into Saturday, we see that ridge really start to dominate the Great Basin yet again, so temperatures will be climbing. Again, we'll see many areas that are near records for the time of year. No high risk, but again, very hot and dry conditions. Relative humidity remains in the single digits to low teens. On the east side of that ridge, we may see some gusty north or northeast winds over parts of central and eastern Utah. These wind gusts will probably be generally in the 20s, maybe up around 30 miles per hour. Nothing as gusty as what we're seeing today or tomorrow, so we don't have any high risk for that, but again, the winds will pick up a little bit over parts of Utah. Also looking at the temperature trend, as we go through the next couple of days, we'll really start to see the temperatures climb and peak over the weekend with highs above 100 over really all of the valleys of the Great Basin and above 115 for southern Nevada. 3-day forecast amount of precipitation, really not much of anything, very spotty thunderstorms, so any thunderstorms likely won't produce any significant rainfall. As we move into Sunday, that ridge again really starts to dominate or remain overhead, so very hot temperatures. We'll have to watch the moisture over the southern areas of the Great Basin to see if we get any increase in lightning on Sunday. Currently no high risk. As we move into Monday, this looks like a better chance for southern areas of the Great Basin to see more lightning activity. You can see that little green bullseye moving up from northern Arizona. So it looks like, again, we will see an increase in lightning. We don't have any high risk yet. We'll be watching these areas. It looks like we will see some moisture with these thunderstorms. So again, we'll be watching those southern areas of the Great Basin going into next week. Also in the north, we may see a return of some breezy winds over parts of northern Nevada into Idaho and Wyoming. So we'll be watching those areas as well. On Tuesday, that moisture starts to move north into Utah. So it looks like the southern half to 2/3 of Utah into the Arizona Strip will be the best chance for increased lightning. Also will be some moisture with these storms, so it looks like a mix of wet and dry, but some will certainly be producing some wetting rains. So again, we'll be watching those areas, but it looks like the moisture might increase with those thunderstorms initially. And then still breezy winds over the northern side of the Great Basin and dry. On Wednesday, similar conditions, maybe a little bit less moisture, but still enough in place for continued lightning probably across the southern half of Utah, and still breezy winds in the north. So again, no high risk for next week, but we are watching the wind and the lightning to see if we need any high risk. The 7-day total precip with that return of moisture from the south going into the early part of next week. Again, you can see there will be some moisture with those storms, so hopefully they just start off wet right away. But again, we'll be watching that return of moisture to see if we do need any high risk. The 8 to 14-day outlook, taking us from July 15th through the 21st, shows warm and dry conditions for much of the Great Basin. But again, the return of that monsoon moisture pushing its way into southern areas. So again, we will see, again, a round of some thunderstorms push in from the south next week, but also towards the late in the second to third week in July, we may see that moisture return again. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.